because they don't know. The hardest thing to deal with about Christmas is taking it away. And it's almost like you don't want to hear 10 million kids, 100 million kids throughout America screaming that you just took Christmas away from them. They don't care about, okay, yeah, it's Jesus' birthday. Let's get on with the presents. You know?
Yeah.
So it's almost the commercialization traps them.
I suppose the government would start locking parents up for being cruel to their children.
Yeah. The whole thing is it's like Halloween, taking candy from a kid. You tell your kids you can't celebrate Halloween. I just want candy. Well, then we'll go to the store and buy some candy.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing evil about the candy. It's the ritual around it. The whole Halloween celebration thing. There's nothing evil about giving somebody a gift, but you're also participating in the ritual. Paganism. Let's celebrate Jesus' birthday when he was born back in September, early October.
I remember reading Dr. Rebecca Brown's series of books, and she said from her experiences that every Halloween, hundreds if not thousands of 33-year-old males are sacrificed in ritual sacrifices in the copying of Jesus every Halloween. So it's hardly a day to celebrate when so many people seem to be being slaughtered.
Yeah, yeah.
I
read her books, and she had a really good portrayal of Maitreya when she went to California.
Excellent.
And went to a Benjamin Cream meeting, and he was going to host Maitreya, and Maitreya was going to channel through him, and she went. Did you remember that part?
Yeah, I think I actually reminded you of the page one day, didn't I?
Was that you?
Yes,
I was going to ask whoever sent me that to send it again, so I could put it on my site. Because I remember somebody sending me to that during my radio show.
Yeah, I reminded you of it.
I know about that. I wish I'd resend it, because now it's buried in like 10,000 emails. I'll never find it.
I'll send you a copy.
Yeah, that was great. I'd love to put it on my site.
Well, it's so long ago, and compared to every other teaching about Maitreya, I mean, there's a big gap in like when that occurred and what's occurred in the meantime.
Yeah. Oh, you know, he claims he's some Muslim living in London, and I just laugh. You know,
yeah.
I just laugh, because that's what he claims in his own writings. He's currently living in London among the Muslim community. He calls it the Asian community.
I found it quite amusing listening to one of your shows recently when you said that you were having a lot of problems at home with your computer and your websites, and they were punishing you because you've released information on the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And so you basically said, right, because they've done that to me, I'm going to tell everybody at Maitreya's in Cuba. I had to laugh at that.
Yeah, you know, when they push me, I just push right back. It's all over the Bible codes that he has a lot to do with Cuba. He has a mansion, a house in Cuba, a big dwelling in Cuba. He also has one in Iran. He'll have one in Iraq. He has them in quite a few different places. So if he was literally on the earth right now, I would have to say he's in Cuba. He's not in London.
Right. For people that don't listen to your show, Maitreya has been said to be a clone, and somehow they've managed to get hold of the DNA from Cain.
Right.
The first child of the union between Samael, the great serpent, and the first woman before she was even called Eve.
Right.
So
they also have cloned Adam, but I don't know what they've done with it. Adam had a prophecy in his book. If you read some of those Nag Hammadi books, The Apocalypse of Adam, where he prophesied his body would be plundered in the later days. Plundered being they would take his DNA. They would perform an autopsy, whatever, take his DNA. His body would be plundered. And so you have to wonder, what did they do with the DNA?
Well, especially as probably Adam was probably 9 or 10 foot tall back then.
Yeah, I do believe he was tall. I do. I know some people believe that they're probably, because Middle Easterns are pretty short. But Cain and Abel were tall.
Well, I think everything was bigger, wasn't it?
And so it would have to stand to reason that Eve would have had to have, or even Adam would have had to have been of some kind of height. Now Cain could have been tall simply because his father was Samael. He could have gotten his watcher height from him, because these angels, the angelic beings, Satan and all of these annex, these watchers, are very tall.
That's where giantism came from, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, the hybrids.
Right.
Because the parents had height to begin with. And that's why you ended up with these hybrid kids that were 15, 20, 30 feet tall. People don't realize what our ancient history was really like. You get an idea, you develop a picture from what the churches in our history tells you. It's what they don't tell you that's the truth that's mind-boggling.
It's scary to think of the archaeological proof that has been hidden from us by people like the Carnegie Institute, isn't it?
Exactly, because they don't want people to know. They're trying to hide the serpent seed. They'll go to any length to hide it. And then when you've got big mouths, oh, there is a serpent seed, folks. It infuriates them. Enoch talks about two brothers that were 30 and 33 feet tall. That's where you get your Jack and the Beanstalk stories. I mean, these are literal beings that were over 30 feet tall.
Well,
talks about how much they ate.
There has been a 36-foot tall skeleton found, hasn't there?
Yeah, and so people say, oh, it's a fake. It's a fake.
But
well, that one might be, but that doesn't mean they didn't exist at all, because we know they did. Enoch talks about it.
To my way of thinking, it makes total sense, and it makes a total strong connection with the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And the reason why especially some of the reptilians were aggressive, meat-eating, and giants.
Well, they were trying to also create their own animals, their own earth, literally. They've never been able to do anything perfect because they're not God, and so they've done the second best, and that's try to hybrid, cross mix DNA from different animals to come up with their own animals. That's where you get the dinosaurs and mermaids and stuff like that from Satan's laboratories.
Yeah, well, I remember reading a phrase, there's no such thing as myth.
Yeah, Rick Mazzuti had it going. He's the one who brought that out. My show a couple of years ago, I think the Latin meaning for mythology is history.
Yeah.
It's Latin or Greek for mythology. It actually means history, and that's true. There's no such thing as, you have to sit back and wonder what is exactly his imagination. Because you can only imagine things you've seen, or you thought you've seen, or somebody else has seen. Everything comes into fruition sooner or later.
Thursdays on the Edge.
We gotta rise up, rise up, rise up. They say it's to protect you, while they try to dispossess you of the right to decide between wrong or right, to openly discuss what politicians hide. They want to keep their secret plans from the public eye. We gotta keep our fires burning, keep our spirits bright. We gotta rise up, rise up, rise up. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people. Money got no children, and bombs ain't for building. Killing ain't no way to make a peaceful day, as all of God's children can easily explain. We gotta keep our fires burning, keep our spirits bright. Stand up and speak for what we know is right. We gotta rise up, rise up, rise up. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people. I see days ahead. Kiss my children into bed. All across the planet I see that everything is fine. Yeah! Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people, against the war. Rise up, people.